Hello friends, we are going to be ripping out in our textbook page 407, and I'm actually going to be putting numbers 7 through 10 as your notes today. So go ahead and rip out page 407 in your notes, and then we are going to put them in your notebook today. So that is what I'm doing right there. And I'm just going to put, this is lesson 9.6. And it's just a couple different ways that you could divide fractions by whole numbers and whole numbers by fractions. Okay, so there's three ways that we could do it. We could do it keep, change, flip, which we've been practicing. And there's also ways that we could do this by number lines. Okay, so I'm actually going to get my glue and glue this in before I start my notes. All right, so if I was to do this, I would divide it into half pieces, each of the whole numbers, up to 5. And then what I would do is I would add up each of these pieces. So this would be 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. So it should be 1/10. Nope, not 1/10. It should be 10 wholes. 10 wholes. Now I can change that and it would be 10 wholes. So how many little spaces do I have? So this would be 2, this would be 2, this would be 2, this would be 2, and this would be 2, which is 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. So that's how you would do it with the dividing it by a fraction, the whole number. All right, the next one is if I was to have 1/2 and I would divide it into 5 pieces, okay? If I have 5 pieces here, if this is my 5th piece over here, then I'm going to find my equivalent fraction with 5 on the top, which would be 5/10. That's 1/2. So each of these should be, this should be 5/10, this should be 4/10, this should be 3/10, this should be 2/10, and that should be 1/10. So each of these is 1/10, and that is what we want as our answer. Each of these is 1/10. And I could always keep, change, flip to double check. 1/5, and that would be 1/10. Okay. Now the next one, we have 6 pieces here, and we are going to divide each piece into thirds. So each piece is into thirds. You can see that this piece is divided into thirds and so forth. Okay, so one of these pieces, or how many pieces do we have? This is 1/18. So how many pieces total do we have here? And that is our answer. So how many pieces do we have? We have 18 pieces. Now it's a little different here if we would do this. It doesn't matter the individual corner piece unless we're dividing it by a whole number. I just colored that to show you that that was one of them. So we're going to divide this into 6 pieces. Okay. The one in the very, very top is going to be our answer here. That's 18 pieces and 1/18. So 1/18. So if I'm dividing, I'm going to put this down here. If you notice, if we have a whole number, if I divide a whole number by a fraction, I get a whole number. If I divide a fraction by a whole number, I get a fraction. So you're essentially finding out how many individual pieces you have when you're dividing by a fraction, and you're finding out what the fraction is once you divide the fraction into pieces. So now I'm going to show you how it works with some word problems. We are going to be dividing, let's see here, we're going to be ripping out page 411. 411. And we are going to be doing numbers 4 and 5 on the next page. So 411. Now, it's okay to be able to do the numbers, but understanding when you have a word problem and how you should set up the equation is also important. It will help you with the understanding of why am I ending up with a whole number and why am I ending up with a fraction when I divide these different things. So here is our first problem. Our first problem is Robert wants to use all the ingredients listed in this table to the right to make a trail mix. How many half-pound packages can he make? So first of all, we have to add 2.5 and 1.5. So half and half is 1 whole. 2, 4, that's 6, 7, 8. So we have 8 pounds total. Okay? So if I have 8 pounds and I want to divide them into 1 half-pound packages, how many total packages would I get? Now, if I'm looking for how many total packages I would get, I obviously am going to end up with a whole number. I don't want to have a fraction left. So if I'm asked, I have a total number, that's a whole number, and I want to divide it into fractional pieces, I would have the whole number divided by the fraction. So the way that I would set it up is 8 over 1 times 2 over 1. Because I kept, I changed, and I flipped. Now, if it asks you for an equation, you would write something like 8 and divided by a half equals P, which is like your packages or whatever. So your answer would be 16 packages. All right, Rachel uses 2/3 of a package of cornbread mix. So what she has left over is 1/3, okay? 1/3 left. She uses equal parts of the leftover mix to make 2 batches of cornbread. So she has 1/3 left of the original mix. She wants to make 2 batches. What fraction of the original package will she use for each batch? So she's taking 1/3 and she's dividing it into 2 pieces. So that is why I do my 1/3 first, because I'm taking my 1/3 and I'm dividing it into 2 equal pieces. So then I would do maybe M for mix. We would do 1/3 times 1/2, and it would be 1/6. So it'd be 1/6 of the batch. So the biggest thing that I would like you to take away from this is if I have a whole number and I'm dividing it into a certain amount of pieces, that is a fraction. The fraction is like a half cup or a quarter cup or something in each of the pieces. Then I'm going to put the whole number first. If I have a fraction and I'm dividing it into equal parts, then I put my fraction first.